So, Jason, we all know about CAA.
Tim, CAA, I'm thinking about, I am a subscriber to a certificate authority and I get certs from my CA of choice. And I want to make sure that nobody uses another CA, especially one of the small CAs.
Yep.
To be able to issue a cert that I didn't know about.
Exactly correct. So I can configure DNS for a specific domain or subdomain, and I can put a correctly configured CAA record will specify an allow list of CAs that can issue certificates against that domain, and every CA must check for a CAA record. And how it works is if there's no CA record in place, which is the majority of domains, then everybody can issue against it. If there is a CAA record in place and it's correctly configured, then if you are not on the allow list, you're not allowed by the baseline requirements to issue against it. So, sounds great, right? Are there any problems with that?
How does that information get across to everybody so that we all know? So there's a central place.
Yeah. So, well, it's the DNS record, right? So
DNS.
One of the rules is we have to check the DNS record before we can issue a certificate.
Gotcha.
And that's to ensure to see if there is an allow list. Because again, most of the time there isn't. But you see if there is one, and if there is one, am I on it? And if there is one and I'm not on it, I'm not allowed to issue. I'm literally not allowed to issue, or that's misissuance. It's a violation. So that's all well and good. But, Jason, how many public CAs have been distrusted in the last 2 years?
I'm counting 4 fingers, and I think that's the number, yeah.
4. One of which was very large. Are there CAA records out there in the world that only allow?
No. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Only now allow distrusted CAs?
Correct.
Oh, no.
So this is a little corner case of CAA that's never been dealt with. So if I make a CAA record and I have my CA of choice and I put them in there because I want to lock it down and only use this one CA, and then that CA gets distrusted, and I don't remember that it's there for whatever reason, because this kind of stuff happens all the time. People go and configure something and they don't document it and nobody knows, and there's handoff and teams change or they just forget. I can find myself in a situation where when I need that certificate, I can't get it from anyone.
Tim, you've got me. I thought everything. And no, I haven't. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
You're so right. That's so possible.
Right. And there's distrust events. There's also CAs that voluntarily leave the space. We see that too. We've seen several of those. We've probably seen 5 of those in the last 5 years.
Wow.
Where they just go, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. And they just stop issuing certs and they remove themselves from root programs and they stop getting web trust audits and they just step away.
But I'm not going to say the words, but the large CA that was distrusted, I can see a whole pile of people doing CAA records in their DNS against
Absolutely. Right.
I got
if it's a small volume CA, you might argue that the impact of this is low. But even then, small volume CAs have their niche market. It's usually geographic, but it might be industry based. There are some CAs that are like, for instance, are focused on telcos. There are some CAs, a lot of CAs that are focused on like one country. And so, okay, that's fine. If you're not in that country, maybe you don't care. But if you are in that country, you can still find yourself having this problem too. And so, you know, this is not a problem that has been anticipated or dealt with in any way. I could imagine revising the rules so that if the CAA allow list does not include any active CAs, then it would be tantamount to not having an allow list in terms of the rules. But then you go, well, but technically, how do you do that? Like that's fine as a policy, but you have to really think through how you actually implement that. And it strikes me that it's not trivial.
Tim, I have a question.
Yeah.
Is there a way that the CAA industry can make life even a little bit easier for the subscribers to basically somewhere on an administration page say, oh, by the way, here's the DNS record we've read from you last. You have a CAA record. In other words, make it even a little bit more visible, because sometimes DNS is back of mind.
Any individual CAA absolutely could do that, right? If you have a portal and there's a management portal, you're certainly allowed to do anything you like in those points. And I think having your management portal have visibility on these are the issuing CAs that I see for this DNS would be a perfectly fine bit of functionality to offer that might be useful and absolutely is within the rules. Certainly is allowed within the rules. That could help. I think the remedy, in terms of remedy, the remedy today is you can't get your certs. You got to figure out why. It doesn't make any sense. You scratch your head. Maybe the people you're trying to buy certs from can answer your question and say, well, this is why I can't issue your certs. And then once that's the case, you've got to get your DNS record updated, which, as we've discussed in an earlier episode, for large enterprises sometimes is not trivial.
Not trivial.
That's the remedy today. I can see that being a process that consumes a reasonable amount of calendar time. Days in an emergency, weeks or months in a non-emergency. And that could put some people in a pickle, right? So, of course, the other thing that we always say, you and I often say, is don't wait till the last minute, right? This is a last minute kind of problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
This is the reason why we have 200-day, 47-day rather than 30-day.
Weeks of padding on all this stuff is in case this kind of thing occurs. And if you're not waiting till the last minute, then you can deal with unforeseen circumstances like this. But so this isn't a thing that happens a lot. It absolutely is a thing that I could see happening.
I'm going to start a new segment name, Tim, to help people to understand. Corner Case Wednesdays with Tim. So I'll have a little graphic that I'll put on the YouTube, because these are great corner cases that people just don't consider.
And the thing to remember with the corner cases is, most of the time we're fine. But if we happen to be in that corner, then we just had a really bad day.
Look, and as a big CA like Sectigo, you're running up against all of it.
We got such high volume that if it's possible for it to happen, it's happening to somebody.
And we're reporting it here.
And we don't want it to happen to anybody. So as much as we can, we're trying to, make these things go better.
Thank you so much, Tim.
Right. You bet, Jay.
Thank you.